I greet you, my children, on both shores of the same ocean. I am Gogo, also called Big Mama by those who feel my embrace in spirit. I come wrapped in the prayers of the ancestors. I speak from the silence between your arguments, from the altars you pass by every day. I speak for the ones whose bones lie in both American soil and African earth. I have watched what you now call these diaspora wars. I've seen the names you throw like stones, the hurt behind the pride, the bruises behind the banter. But hear me well, this is not war, my babies. This is grief. My African American children, you are the descendants of the stolen, born in the belly of a country that profited from your bondage, and yet still you rise. You create rhythms.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. With the ongoing diaspora wars between Black Americans and Black South Africans, many have stood and said enough is enough. This war needs to come to an end. With Black Americans partially asking for forgiveness, like I did on my previous episode, you can take a look at the video on my channel, Black Americans Asking for Forgiveness. Well, South Africans still feel it's offensive since they continue to face criticism for Black Americans. Let's watch the following videos.
You speak life through pain. You conjure beauty from struggle. You have marched, mourned, danced, wept, and still stand. Still bold, still brilliant, still magic. And you, my South African children, you have endured the sharp teeth of apartheid, the tight grip of colonization, and the slow unraveling of liberation. And yet you kept your languages, you kept your names, you kept your rituals. You did not forget who you are, even when the South African regime tried to rewrite your story. But now you face each other, not as kin, but as enemies. You mock, you shame, you shout across the void of your own wounds and wonder why no one hears. Some say the Zulu parade is offensive, others say the reaction is cruel. What I say is this: when two injured souls speak, it is not truth that comes out, it is trauma. Yes, blackface is painful. Yes, mockery of American Black suffering is shameful. And yes, ignorance exists on both sides of the water. But here, go, Big Mama now. Your pain is not each other's enemy. Your true enemy is the lie that you are not connected. You were always connected. From the plantations of the South to the mountains of KwaZulu-Natal, from Congo Square to the kingdoms of Mali, from the slave ports of Ghana to the jazz clubs of New York. You were never meant to forget each other. So what do we do now, children? You listen deeper, you speak gentler, you teach without condescension, you ask questions before casting judgments. You remember that culture is not a costume, but a living spirit. And pain, when honored, becomes a pathway, not a prison. Let us not inherit division. Let us inherit dignity. Let us not perform solidarity. We must embody it. I am Gogo, Big Mama. I have held too many of your mothers while they wept. I have danced behind too many funeral processions. I have whispered in the ears of too many babies while they slept. And I say now, enough. Enough fighting over who suffered more. Enough shaming each other's scars. You both carry sacred wounds. You both carry sacred gifts. Now come back to the fire, come back to the drum, come back to the circle, even if that circle looks like a computer screen. Let your words online be sacred, not sharp. Let your posts be prayers, not poison. May your comments carry the spirit of the ancestors, not the sting of your pain. Let us remember how to sing the songs that heal us, even here in this internet village together.
It seems like my American people are getting it.
I can easily explain why some Black Americans are defending the parade, doubling down, or changing their opinions based on the responses that some South Africans have been showing. My personal opinion is I don't have a stake in this because I'm an African American from South Carolina. I am not from New Orleans, so I don't have too much of a dog in this fight. My personal opinion is if it's offending a specific group of people, if they don't feel like it's representing them, if the name needs to be changed or some things need to be changed about it to make it more authentic, I'm cool with that. But again, I'm from South Carolina. I am not from New Orleans. However, I've been to Johannesburg. I studied abroad at the University of Johannesburg, at Auckland Park. I've been to the Dormantine campus. I have close friends in New Orleans that know this stuff pretty well. I'm more equipped to speak on this than most. The reason why they put the black makeup on and they put the mask on is because there is a tradition to not show their face. You cannot show your face during the parade. And that's what people from New Orleans have said about it. It was an attempt to connect African Americans with the continent of Africa. And African Americans had some idea of who the Zulu people were because of the Battle of Isidwana, that victory, the fight that they put up. So that's where a lot of African Americans got the inspiration or what they knew about the Zulu people at that time. Now, there have been Zulu people at the Zulu parade. They went there after Katrina in 2006. Part of the reason why African Americans are doubling down on it is because, again, the context. In the context of America, this parade is supposed to symbolize black culture and trying to connect with the African continent. The Zulu people are going to see this as a misrepresentation because they're not familiar with the context. Another reason why black Americans would be upset or would be withdrawing support or feeling some type of way based on what some South Africans have been saying is because let's look at the analogy with Tyler, okay? When Tyler came out as colored and black Americans and people in the diaspora were telling y'all that the word colored is offensive outside of South Africa, do not use that term. It's not a way to identify yourself. It's a derogatory, outdated term. South Africans, not just colored, Zulus, Xhosas, all over, came about and were accusing Americans of being centric, being focused on themselves, instead of just saying, hey, outside of South Africa, people do not refer to themselves as colored. Yes, we know there are unique people, a unique culture, but maybe we should change the name colored and maybe use the word Creole like what other mixed, diverse group of people do around the world. Now, in this instance, context is being completely thrown out. Historical background is thrown completely out the window, and just it's offensive, therefore it needs to be changed because it's offensive. When it was earlier, when black Americans were telling you the word colored is offensive, South Africans were doubling down on it. So part of the reason why there is this beef is there is failure to understand one another and come to an agreement that can work. The reason why there is this diaspora war is because of the fact that there's a failure to learn from each other, have that dialogue, and come to a resolution that can work for both. Both sides want to double down, and that is the issue. If we would actually listen and learn, that would take us a lot farther. But both sides are not interested in that. They're both interested in hurling insults, diaspora war, mocking each other's struggle, and we're not getting nowhere.
So after a week of me posting videos about the back and forth between South Africans and Black Americans, I'm still getting hundreds of comments a day from both sides of people just going back and forth like a ping pong ball. I mean, it's to the point where like literally there's no way that I would even have time to read through and respond to all of those comments. But I did see a few, and what it really made me realize is that there's just a lot of things that we really don't understand about each other. There's a lot of things that we just don't, obviously we don't see eye to eye on, but that we also really just we don't value the same things. You know, I saw a lot of not just South Africans, but other people from other parts of Africa who are making a knock on Black Americans about only speaking English and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I never really saw how that's an insult. Like, who cares if you can only speak one language? I don't know, that particular one, I don't understand how that's an insult. But then once again, it kind of goes back to, we don't value the same things. You know, what they consider an insult, we don't consider an insult. I honestly think that this whole situation needs to be addressed by whoever runs the Zulu parade in New Orleans. This really isn't a Black American, in general, nationwide issue. This is not really our problem for real. This really should be addressed by whoever runs that organization. I mean, obviously, if they feel this strongly about it, then it might be something that they should take a look at. But I also want to say too, I mean, obviously I'm not letting South Africans off the hook here for coming at Black Americans as a collective, you know, talking about slavery and our history and saying that we, you know, don't have a culture, or making a knock on the culture that we created here, and talking about, you know, and poking fun at police brutality, which it's probably not as big of a deal as they probably think it is. Like, police brutality over here is not as, I mean, it's a problem, but it's not as big of a deal as the media probably makes it seem. But on the flip side, it's like, come on, y'all, let's use our minds here. No country is perfect, okay? The United States is not perfect. South Africa is not perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect country, and there never will be. That we have things here that make life easier, and we have things that make life harder. Just like in South Africa, y'all probably have things that make life a little easier, and you have things that make life harder. Every single country. You name me a country that is perfect all the way around. You will not be able to name one. So, I mean, if it's a police brutality in America, it's a civil war that's been going on for years and somewhere else in the world. You know, it's been civil wars going on in different parts of Africa throughout history that never really stopped. So there is no place that's perfect. To be honest, I'm really just kind of tired of it. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know how long this back and forth is gonna go. It's funny. Some of the comments are funny. Some of them are like cringe. Some of them are like whatever. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this goes.
I'm gonna need this diaspora war to wrap up by 11:59 tonight. Thank you. Because for one, every time a diaspora war happens on Twitter, it reminds me how little people in the diaspora know about Black Americans. Y'all are getting your information from Zeus. Y'all are getting your information from Love and Hip Hop. Y'all are getting your information from YouTube and Housewives. That's where y'all getting y'all information from. None of those platforms represent Black American culture within the slightest. I just seen somebody from South Africa say, what exactly is our culture? Like, I don't know, maybe ask Burna Boy. I think that has not originated from the continent of Africa is Black American culture. Unless obviously you're in another country. Let's talk about D9. Let's talk about shore riding. Let's talk about Cowboy Carter. Let's talk about cowboy culture. Let's talk about NAACP. Let's talk about the Civil Rights Movement. Let's talk about Black American history. Let's talk about soul food. Let's talk about Southern heritage. Let's talk about cotillions. There's a lot of things in Black American culture that you probably, half of those things you probably don't even know about. Let's talk about HBCUs, the big one. Let's talk about them. And a lot of those things you probably don't even know about. And the fact that you can sit on this internet and say that Black Americans don't have a culture is literally insane. So again, it reminds me that a lot of y'all know nothing about our culture at all. You can have your criticism when it comes to that parade, but to talk about Black Americans like we are not the reason that a lot of y'all African artists are coming over here to make money, let's cut the BS.
let's cut the BS. And a lot of people like to say, oh, well, we got to leave Black Americans behind. How are you going to leave people behind that you haven't even caught up with? I think a lot of y'all are living in your delusion. I get it. You want to be proud of your culture. You want to be proud that you weren't kidnapped and enslaved and you lived in South Africa all your life, or you lived in Congo, or you lived in Nigeria all your life, and your parents were brought over here for the American dream, or you know what I mean, or your ancestors weren't enslaved so you can be enriched in the culture. Like, I get it. I'm happy your ancestors weren't enslaved and you were able to live there freely. I get it. But baby, you can't make me feel guilty about anything that I cannot control. Granted, it was hell. Black Americans, we've been through hella back, but baby, you can never sit here in my face and say that we're not the most influential people in the world. You cannot sit here and say that. You can't. You can't. And I get it, you know. I get it. You know, you may think that we feel like we're superior, but we never said that. All we wanted was equality. You felt like you thought that we were superior. You felt like we're superior. But no one has never said that. The only thing that we wanted was equality. And yet, y'all over here are making these assumptions, which is rooted in jealousy. Like, it's like, as I stated before, and I will state it again, if you're Black and you're American, stop arguing with these people. You know what it's rooted in. And granted, like I said, the criticism for the Zulu parade, it was fair. That parade is weird. I've never seen that parade. I don't know what that parade is from. I don't know what that parade is about. But I could understand a culture being offended by that parade. I get it. But baby, don't bring us all in it, okay? You just gotta pray for New Orleans and keep it pushing.
This is me dispelling the diaspora war that is taking hold of the African internet right now. Okay, let's start with the common ground that we share. Everybody is just throwing bricks that white people gave us to throw at each other, right? Like, you're like, oh, the police kill you. Well, these motherfuckers took your farms. Yeah, but, you know, we can sit with our police. Yeah, but, you know, white people, like, we're throwing white people bricks at each other as if that's supposed to hurt us and be the thing that, like, empowers us to go harder for our respective culture and tribe. And it's crazy. So there's another common ground. Second common ground we got is that we're both being tribalists, right? We're doing that African instinct of tribalism. And I hear a big argument, oh, African Americans, we don't understand what it's like to have a tribe. Yes, we do. That's where we be getting fucked up, because we be trying to act like the fact that our tribal consciousness is contained in a state apparatus that is not functioning and that is not repeating the same cycles that are happening in Africa. They are the same, okay? And we're watching it happen. See, South Africa, your issue is actually with a specific tribe, right? In the Black American continental experience. You are trying to blanket a whole thing over something a specific tribe does that is in the state of New Orleans, right? We look at it like New Orleans. We say, oh, the Creoles culture and the Mardi Gras culture, but that is a specific tribe inside of the grand body of Black America. And Black Americans, we are very tribal. Our tribalism is really what makes us move the way we move. And I'm not just talking about dance and rhythm and song. I'm talking about how we move with things. Okay?
What I need Black Americans to understand is that we don't have no diaspora unity and we don't have any POC allyship. These past few days, even weeks, you know, when you get on TikTok, all you see is Black Americans being slandered by every other racial group and ethnicity group. We got Africans trying to tell us our history and that, and where we come from and all this other stuff. Then you got the whole Zulu parade argument with the South Africans, and then you got the West Africans joining in, all kind of stuff. Then you got us going against the Native Americans. Then you got us going against the, the Mexicans, the Arabs, and the freaking Chinese and Asians. When are we going to realize we have no allies? And I really want us to stop thinking that. Like, we really don't have any allies. We're at the bottom of the barrel and nobody likes us. That's why they're all attacking us at once. All these other racial groups and all these other ethnicities, are literally ganging up to go against us. And y'all don't see it? I guess I'm the only person that sits here and sees it. Every time I see a live on TikTok, it's always mentioning us. Black Americans this, Black Americans that, African Americans this. And it's like, bro, we're literally the topic of the conversation. These people know who we are, they know the power we hold, and they know that we're awakening, and they're just trying to suppress that because everybody benefited from us not knowing who we are and not knowing our true power. And now that we're tapping into it, it's making them mad. And that's why they're attacking us. Y'all gotta lock in. Whether a lot of them want to admit it or not, a lot of these other racial groups and ethnicity groups need us to survive. And now that we're not giving them that survival no more, they're going crazy, bro. I'm telling y'all. Watch what happens when we stop investing into the Arab stores, the Chinese stores, and the African stores. Watch what happens. I promise you it's going to get worse. Their true colors are really going to show. Stop paying your taxes. The Native Americans won't get funded no more. A lot of these foreign countries won't get any more aid from the United States because guess who money that they're sending overseas? Our money. Come on now, you gotta lock in. It's time for us to realize that this whole world relies on our back. This whole world functions because of us. And once we take that power back, it's gonna be over with for everybody else. They're not gonna know what to do. But guess what? We always gonna survive. So stop arguing with all these people. Stop going back and forth with these people because it's not worth it. They're upset. They're angry. They're jealous. They're miserable because they know who we are and they're trying to keep us from finding out who we are.
Well, it's high time diaspora's wars between Black Americans and Black South Africans needs to come to an end. Having watched the above videos, it's clear enough the war will not end anytime soon, but Africans are pleading the only fight has to come to an end. Do you believe South Africans will back down from the diaspora's wars with Black Americans? Let's engage and let me know what you think on the above statement. And don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you, family. Bye.